The Alberta government is continuing to delay, stall, and stonewall our investigation into their treatment of GraceLife Church. I promise you, I will get that information, but I am going to need your help to do it. For those of you who don't know, GraceLife Church, west of Edmonton, Alberta, gained international attention when the congregation and the pastor there all resisted the lockdown restrictions on places of worship here in Alberta, Canada. The church ended up on the receiving end of constant police and Alberta Health Services surveillance. The church was issued fines and closure notices, but they did not bend, and they have never bent, not a day, not even once. The whole affair came to a head when the pastor there, James Coates, was arrested and held in the maximum security Edmonton Remand Center for 35 days. Eligible for bail, but refusing to comply with bail conditions that would require him to make his church COVID compliant to capacity limits, masking rules, and social distancing. And the church property itself was seized by police and health cops in an early morning raid in the spring of this year and held captive for nearly 90 days. Now, here at Rebel News, we wanted to know what was being done and said about GraceLife Church behind closed doors, in the government, and in the hallways of power. Were bureaucrats wrestling with their conscience about arresting a peaceful man of the cloth for the crime of refusing to turn away his congregants to comply with the Church of Public Health? Or were these government officials just full speed ahead, eager to work as hard as they could to seize the church and bring the church to its knees in front of the golden calf of the government without a prickle of conscience? Rebel News filed for an access to information request into the Justice Ministry here in Alberta for records and communications relating to GraceLife Church and Pastor James Coates for the time period of January 1st, 2021 to May 21st, 2021. We wanted the records of the full standoff with the church up until the date we filed that request. And when we filed that request, the government still had control of the church building. It was not even returned to its rightful owners until July 1st. When we filed that first request, we were hit with two separate delay tactics. The first delay tactic was an extra 30 days, a delay in the government to give us access to the records. The second was a bill for nearly $2,000, $1,947 to pay someone to search for records. They knew there were 1,500 pages of records, and they needed about 50 hours to redact them and go through them to give them to me. They wanted $937 as a deposit just to start work. We paid it under protest, thanks to the generous support of our viewers to our Access to Information Fund at rebelinvestigates.com. But even after the government delayed the initial request for GraceLife information, and after we paid their insane fees, we still don't have access to the information. Here's the new letter the government sent us just a couple days ago. Take a look at this. We've been hit with yet another delay. On top of the 30-day delay that the Justice Ministry first took, they just informed us that they're taking another 200-day delay. Look at this. We will make every reasonable effort to respond to your request by, wait for it, March 31st, 2022. So about 10 months after we asked for the first batch of information. What is in these documents that they don't want us to see? What is in there that they don't want the world to know? I'm going to find it. These delay tactics and paywalls will not deter me. In fact, they only motivate me more. But we don't get $1.5 billion like the CBC or millions and millions in bailout bucks to ask puffball questions to Justin Trudeau or bad faith ones to conservative politicians like the mainstream media does. We rely on the support of you at home. And these sorts of investigations, they are expensive. Besides all the bills and fees and appeals and delays, they take a lot of time and labor. We have one researcher who helps us. He helps us read through things, and he files the official paperwork to do this sort of stuff. We file dozens of access to information requests every single week. We have to read every one to help us offset these costs, please donate today at rebelinvestigates.com. And if the government thinks a bill and a delay is going to stop me, they are going to find out that it will have the opposite effect. I want these answers, not only for the people of GraceLife, but for all Albertans. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. To fund our ongoing access to information investigations into all levels of government, please visit rebelinvestigates.com and consider donating. I think it is so important to hold the government to account on behalf of the people, unlike the other way around, which is, how the mainstream media does it. That website again is rebelinvestigates.com.